Good morning, friends, folks. Today is Monday. It's the third day of my trip up here in the northern Bruce Peninsula. If you're watching this from other parts of the world, that's in Ontario, Canada. We're about 15 minutes away from Tobermory and about 10 minutes away from Georgian Bay. 5 minutes from Miller Lake and 15 minutes from Lake Huron. So surrounded by a lot of beautiful water. Our 100 acres here is not on water. We knew going in that we could either afford a really small piece of property with waterfront or a bigger piece of property with the forest and close to a lot of water. So that's what we chose to do, was the large property. We keep our kayaks here. We like to go kayaking. We're very close to the water, which is great. But for us, and I think I enjoy the forest a lot more. I get to enjoy the forest year round. It's kind of a thing that's always changing, lots of different seasons, always so much to look at and observe. I enjoy fishing, but it's not at the top of my recreational list. So going for a hike in the forest and checking out the trees and the animals and wildlife up here, that is something that for me just can't be replaced by any amount of water. What we are planning on doing up here is, I've mentioned before, we want to build a house, family home. We've gone back and forth quite a bit on that decision, and not so much the decision of whether to do it or not, but what type of building we're going to put up here. We've had this property for 5 years. The first year we came up here and really spent a lot of time cleaning up. There was a little road access, just large enough to get the truck off the main road. And unfortunately, people had been doing a lot of dumping over the years there. And you name it was dumped there: refrigerators, tires, couches, car parts. And we hauled trailer full after trailer full of garbage. I don't know how many, maybe 100 garbage bags full of pop cans and litter and beer bottles, and it was a mess. So that was the first step, was cleaning up the entrance, basically. After that was done, we listed a local contractor and we extended that and leveled it up. We probably went in another 75-100 feet with gravel, and that gave us a nicer area to pull in off of. And we would come up here for day trips and just park the truck and go for a hike and see what was going on in town. And so that was kind of the first year. Second year, we decided to buy a small trailer, a pop-up trailer, pretty much the smallest trailer you can buy that'll comfortably fit 3 people and give you a good night's sleep. Hot and cold running water, little furnace, queen size beds at each end. It worked out great for all of us. We had a couple guests up. My daughter brought her best friend up, and that allowed us to do a little bit of work, make some trails, extend the gravel driveway a little bit. So the pop-up was great. The problem is, and I don't know if this exists in all areas, but in the northern Bruce Peninsula, they have a trailer bylaw. And we knew that when we bought the property, like eyes wide open. We still decided to go ahead with the trailer, and our thinking was, okay, it's a pop-up trailer. When we're not here, we knock it down, it folds up, it's 10 feet long, it sits there, and no one should have an issue with a trailer being stored basically on your property when you're not there. I mean, if we were to use the trailer 6 months over the summer, 8 months over the summer for 3 or 4 days at a time, that would, that was our typical camping year. And we talked to some neighbors and we told them what we wanted to do. And, the general consensus was, even though there's a trailer bylaw, you have nothing to worry about. Bylaw isn't going to come around. They're not going to tell you to pack up and go home. They've got a lot of other things to worry about on the Bruce than that little 10-foot pop-up trailer. So for 3 years, I suppose, we used the trailer, and it was great. Just enough to let us come up here and enjoy ourselves, yet it wasn't a big investment, and we really enjoyed that. Last year, things changed. We brought the trailer up in the spring, opened it up, spent the weekend, and then my friend Kevin came up. He's on some of my other videos with up here last time with me in the Bruce doing some wood chipping. He came up for a day. We met with the excavation contractor about foundations, and closed up the trailer, went home, and a few days later at home I got a letter from the municipality of Northern Bruce Peninsula bylaw department saying that we had to immediately remove the trailer from the property and anything else associated with it that wasn't for immediate use. So that ended that. And I mean, I could probably make a long and lengthy video, maybe I will down the road, about the bylaw and why they brought it into place. We did a little bit of research. Right now we're on the wrong side of the bylaw. When we're up here full time, maybe our views on that will change. But for us, it was a setback for sure. Going from a place to stay relatively affordable, economically, it's affordable to have a little trailer like that. It was great to get out of the weather, the bugs, if the mosquitoes were bad. It's just a place to go to relax, kind of a home base. If we were going to head out kayaking or hiking on the trails, then we could come back and clean up and make dinner. It was great in a lot of ways. So losing the trailer has definitely been a setback. So we are working around that, staying at bed and breakfast. There's a few people that we know up here. We're kind of couch surfing. But it's definitely changed how often we are able to get up here. Right now, with the fuel prices being what they are, coming up for a couple days doesn't make sense. Doing an overnighter definitely doesn't make sense. Last time I was up, I brought the full-size truck, the Ram, with the chipper and the four-wheeler. And that trip up and back and a little bit of driving around while I was here, that was a $240 fuel charge. And that's not with any other bed and breakfast or hotel or any other accommodation. So it gets expensive in a hurry when you're trying to do these trips. So now we're looking at 4-day trips, 5-day trips, just to try to justify the fuel cost. Hopefully that'll ease. I don't think it's going to happen this summer, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. Yeah, so back to what we want to do here. When we bought the property, we knew that we were going to retire up here. We knew that we were going to build a home. One of the reasons that we bought this piece of property is because there's, in about 150 feet or so from the road, there's a nice high area to build. It's a mixed forest, it's predominantly hardwood, but we've also got some cedar, some hemlock. It's just a beautiful chunk of land. So we knew that we wanted to retire and spend our time up here. The first thoughts was to build the single family residence around 2,000 square feet, double car garage, and sell down south, you call it the South, Southern Ontario, and make the full-time move up here. Now, we have a teenage daughter. She's a couple years left in high school, university. Our plans of getting up here full-time, I don't want to say retire. My wife's a teacher. she would hopefully find either full-time or occasional teaching work up here. As a welder, I'm probably more employable than she is in the short term. I have also, I can drive truck, so I'm sure I will be able to find some work up here. But as things go, you know, a 2-year plan turns into a 4-year plan, and a 4-year plan turns into a 6, and before you know it, you're 10 years out, and you're 10 years older, and you haven't really accomplished what you want to, and you know, when you're 10 years, I'm 49, so you add 10 years onto that to get started. I don't know. We don't want to wait that long. You never know. I mean, every day is a gift. That old cliche, but I mean, right now everyone's got good health, and we kind of take it for granted. We know it's not always going to be like that, so the sooner we can, you know, get up here and get some work done, get a place to stay and enjoy, the better. So what we've decided on is we like to call it the garage dominium, and it is it's kind of a unique building, but I think you're going to see more of them. It's kind of a trend that's catching on, and what it is, in the northern Bruce Peninsula, a single family residence has to be currently a minimum of 1,000 square feet. So no tiny homes, no hunting camps, no forestry buildings. You need to build a full-on residence with a water supply, a septic. It has to be serviced either with solar or grid power. So there's no shortcuts. There's no small ways to do this. We need to build something that has 1,000 square feet of livable space. So that's where he kind of came up with this garage dominium idea. So what it is in a nutshell, a double car garage, workshop down below, and then up above we've got 1,000 square feet, 2 bedrooms, kitchen, living room, kind of a shared living room, open space, small deck out the back, and that is going to satisfy that square foot requirement. Of course, we're going to have a well, the septic, you know, and then that'll give us a place to stay and to come up here and be able to enjoy our property for the next, whether it's 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, whatever it is, it's going to be our place. After we move up here full time, I mean, we will live in that building. Nothing wrong with 1,000 square feet, that's for sure. We'll live in that building, and then we'll add on to it. We'll add the rest of the house onto it, and probably add another 1,000 square feet or so to that. And once that's done, the garage dominium is basically a standalone apartment. So that gives us some options, either for friends to stay at, for relatives, my daughter, or it could be a standalone rental apartment, possibly an Airbnb rental. We've definitely talked about doing a bed and breakfast, and that would be, you know, the rooms available for that. So it's really going to give us a lot of options once we are up here full-time living as to what we want to do with that space. Of course, down below, the big news, double car garage and a workshop. So, you know, it'd be nice to get the kayaks inside, a place to park the four-wheeler, maybe leave a snowmobile up here. Workshop, woodworking tools. It's big plans for that area for sure. Definitely going to have a wood stove for heat. Thinking about some other, you know, things down the road, whether we're going to do in-floor heating. We're still undecided completely whether we want to go solar or tie into the grid. But those are all things, fun things to think about and figure out. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at with the project up here. I was thinking about this the other night, and I thought to myself, I'm going to need to make a video to explain kind of how we got here, who we are, an introduction. I'm all over the place with these videos. An introduction, me, my wife, my daughter, tell you a little bit about us and our background and how we grew up, and So that'll be coming down the road. But for now, just wanted to kind of bring you up to date, and as you follow along with our progress up here. Yesterday was mostly a rain day in the morning, cleared up around noon, and there was a nice breeze. When the breeze wasn't here, the humidity was, but it was a nice day for working. I think 18 degrees or so, so can't complain about that at all. Getting a little bit of sun up here, that's for sure. Progress, I have got a big pile to chip on the next trip up. A lot of what I was working on yesterday was smaller stuff, 2 and 3 inch saplings and cleaning up tops of trees. Did manage to get further back into the forest, and between the winch and just cutting and hauling, certainly got a big pile to be chipped. So that's going to be on the agenda or the calendar for sure. So today, what I want to do, today's my last full day, so I want to get the rest of this wood all bucked up. I've got a couple rows in the trailer to take home. I just couldn't pass it up. There's some nice 8-inch, 10-inch ironwood and some hard maple. We heat our house full time with firewood down home, and I always like bringing some wood home that came from this property. I sell wood. I definitely don't sell any wood from the property because it's just, I don't know, I feel too invested in it. But I pick the nicest stuff, and I know when I get to that in my log piles, I know exactly where it came from. Even if it's a couple years later, I can say, well, that's the ironwood from 2022 when I was up making amateur YouTube videos. But I do feel a connection. It's a strange thing. I guess if you cut wood, you cut a lot of it. One tree is the same as the next tree, but this isn't a job for me. It's just a hobby, and it's a hobby that I really enjoy. So I can take the time to appreciate those small things. That's about it. Yeah, so that's the plan today. Get that all bucked up. I'm probably gonna try to go for a hike. We've got the world-renowned Bruce Trail at our doorstep. It's only really minutes away. And if you're ever up this area, I mean, for sure, it's beautiful. It's probably one of the most beautiful parts of the province. I think Tobermory is ranked the #2 tourist destination in Ontario, between Fathom 5 Marine Park and the clear waters of Georgian Bay. And just having the Bruce Trail, it's beautiful up here. It's no wonder that land prices have soared and tourism has soared. But if you're ever up this way, hiking, I have found from Wyerton to Tobermory can be some of the most beautiful parts of the Niagara Escarpment. Down home, we also live on the escarpment, but I find this to be a bit more rugged, a bit more varied in terrain, and definitely when you are on the trail and you can hear the water, you can hear Georgian Bay down below, and you pop out on a cliff and you're 50, 60 feet above that blue turquoise water down below. It's just, like I say to my wife all the time, and I say to friends who don't get to enjoy this as much, I say, only this place is this place, and that's the absolute truth. And I think that's why we love it up here so much. Anyhow, I think that's about it. I got some work ahead of me, and it should be fun work as usual with the chainsaw, bucking stuff up. I'll get the rest of the trailer filled up for what I want to take home, and go for a hike. Enjoy the rest of my day up here. Looks like the sky is clearing, and it's going to be a beauty. Okay, thanks for watching.